Hello everyone, I'm Samantha Simpson and I'm a posture and yoga coach. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a fun and short sequence to help you open up your hips and your hamstrings. Now this is really important because your hips and your hamstrings enable you functional mobility to be able to do the things you want to do in life. So if you want to age gracefully and have fun in your older years, it is essential that you have open hips and hamstrings. Now, the reason why I'm teaching you this video is because so many stretches that people do today that they think that they're opening up their hips and hamstrings aren't really opening up their hips and hamstrings. For example, so many people come up to me and tell me, I can't do yoga, Samantha, because I can't even touch my toes. And then they demonstrate for me, look, I can't touch my toes. And this is a common exercise that people think that they're stretching out the backs of their legs, but really what you're doing here is really stretching the low back. And most people are pretty mobile leaning forward in the low back because we spend a lot of our day in a curved position. So stretching that is not really going to get us anywhere. Where they're really feeling the lacking, the tightness, is lower down. So lower down. And when you're stretching in this way, trying to touch your toes this way, you're really just stretching your low back and you're not even touching on the backs of the legs. So I'm going to show you a way to do it differently. And this is going to enable you to squat down, to put on your shoes when you're older, to reach down and pick up your children with ease, to play sports. So it's also going to be pretty fun, and you might have some interesting feelings going on, but come along and join me for the way. I'm sure you will love it and appreciate it. So we're going to do this today. I'm going to use two chairs, so you'll notice I'm sitting on a stool, and that's about the right height that you want to have it. And I also have another chair in front of me for support. You can use your couch or a desk for that as well. So we'll start in a seated position, and we're going to be using the Bowspring postural template today. So the Bowspring alignment is what I'm teaching, and it's a curvy, open alignment. So we'll sit seated on the chair and take a moment and untuck your tailbone. So pull the whole flesh of your buttocks out. And that makes or breaks this posture. For example, if you don't do that and you're tucked under, you're going to have the telltale rolls on the belly. If you're rolling on the belly, then you're going to be stretching your back. And we're looking to stretch the backs of the legs instead. So untuck that tailbone, reach in there, grab your flesh, pull it out, and it sure does help to be at the very, very edge of your chair. Make it so the front part of your foot is forward of the knee instead of behind the knee. All right? And then let your ribs sit up nice and tall and long so that you have a really long waistline. You'll notice when your butt is untucked, you can sit up taller. You suddenly gain 4 inches while you're sitting. And take a moment here and get nice and tall. Let your belly be long and allow your head to lift up as well. And then we're going to take our left leg and cross it over the right. And you can use your hand to help you if you like. And you might feel a tightness here as well. And you can push it down for a second. Push the knee down for a second. And take the calf flesh, rotate it outward. And as you do, you'll notice your left toe start to point more towards the floor. Keep your left ankle flexed. All right? Now, grab your buttocks flesh again, untuck in case you became tucked. You'll know if you're tucked because your belly will start getting rolls on the front of it. So untuck, get tall, pull out as much as you need to, and now start wrapping the flesh of the thigh inward. And you might feel a stretch, and don't be shy here. Really grab the meat of the thigh and rotate it inward. It's going to help you later on. Okay, and now take the knee and pull it up towards the body. Keep the left ankle flexed, and you might feel a stretch on the outside of the hip. That's okay. Breathe into the tallness of your rib cage. You're going to keep deepening the crease of your hip and start to fold forward, rocking a little bit into this new opening. Take your right hand behind your left heel and place it there to give you something to drag back into. So pull your left heel into your right hand until you feel a tone on the back of your left leg. That gentle tone is going to keep you safe and to help this flexibility stretch strengthen. So flexibility is as much about strengthening as it is about stretching. So we're adding a little bit of tone. You're doing some work here. Toning to gain more flexibility. That's right. All right, and then we'll take a little twist here. Take the right hand to the left knee, and you can lift up the knee as you do. And then take the left hand behind you and do a gentle twist. Think about twisting with your ribs first. The head is going to be the most flexible and the easiest to turn. But I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried more about twisting the ribs. Keep your chin in line with your sternum. There's no cheating the twist when you do that. Breathe into the tallness of your ribs. Breathe into the opening of your hips. And then we'll uncross the left. Keep the ankle flexed as you touch down. So we're keeping a gentle engagement. All through these stretching exercises, we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. Yeah, and we'll start by molding the calf flesh away from you, and that helps rotate the left toes towards the floor. I'm keeping a flexion on the right ankle. This is my right foot. And molding the flesh forward, the toes point towards the floor. Good, and I'll untuck my butt again in case it got tucked, and you will find over and over again, it's a lot easier to do at the very edge of your chair or your bench. Now I'm going to take the right knee and lift it up towards the midline, and I'll feel that stretch on the outside of the right butt. Supporting the knee upward, keep flexing the right ankle. Take the left hand to the right heel, and it'll give me something to drag back into so I can feel an engagement on the right leg. I'm strengthening around the stretch, and that's essential. That's going to keep it there for longer than the stretch lasts. So you might have been trying to touch your toes for years and noticed you weren't getting anywhere. Maybe your stretch was lacking a strengthening practice, and that's what we're doing in the Bowspring. Breathing into those tall ribs, the tall head. And now we'll take a little twist accent. Think about your chin is in the same line as your breastbone. Take your left hand to the right knee and then twist from the rib cage. Stay tall and wide in the ribs. And exhale, come back through center. Uncross and touch down. In the seated position, we're going to step our feet wide. And I'll start by hovering the left heel just a little bit, and then I'll swivel the heel out. So swiveling in an outward rotation, the knee will narrow in, and I'm going to give it a little press. So I'm going to walk my feet back a little bit. Knee narrow the knee in, press it. At the same time, think about pushing your left hip outward. So knee goes in, hip goes out. So this feels a little bit different. We're not used to this motion. Give your left knee a little energy into your hands. All right, and then swivel that heel back in. I'll lift the right heel this time and swivel it out. The right knee lowers towards the midline. I'm going to give it some pressure with my hands. I'm also going to resist the knee into it as I think about pressing the right hip wide. And don't worry don't wrap your brain around this too hard. It's a little bit confusing, and sometimes if we haven't felt this inward rotation before, it might feel a little numb in the beginning. Don't worry. Keep practicing. You're doing great. Breathing into those tall ribs. Good. And then we're going to come up to standing. So let's take our chair here and walk the feet back. Come up into a standing position with bent legs. My feet are wider than my mat. My body weight is in the front part of my feet. my belly is long. I'm not putting weight on the chair. I'm sort of pulling the chair into me to stretch my belly long. The hips go back and there's a deep crease in the hips in the front. I might even walk my feet back a little bit more. Good, hips go back. Use your arms to pull the belly forward. And again here, we don't want a tucked butt. If we tuck the butt, we're just stretching the back. So yours might look different than mine. So you might be higher forward or further back. All right, so wherever you were, body weight in the front part of the feet, bend behind the knees, tailbone lifted. Use your arms to help you stretch your belly long. Pull, and then start to pulse the backs of your knees open. Here's a real hamstring stretch, in case you're wondering. Use your feet and energetically press wide. So you're strengthening your high butt. We're stretching out the backs of the legs. I'm pretty flexible here, so I can go even lower and still keep the tailbone lifted, pulsing out the backs of the legs. Now, if your tailbone tucked when you went lower, go back up high. So your legs might shake a little bit. They're strengthening and they're stretching at the same time, and that's a good thing. Roll in towards the inner aspect of your foot. Sometimes we tend to roll out here. Use your arms to help pull your belly long. Good, and we'll do the swivel foot again. So I'm going to come back up for that one. Hover the left heel, swivel the heel out, and then pulse. The knee goes inward. You can even push your hand inward. The hip goes out, a little pulsing into that. And then bring it up center. Hover the right heel, swivel the heel outward, knee goes inward, hip goes out, and then swivel back. Bring your hands to your knees, push your knees into your hands, and let your hips slide back. Recovery pose. Belly is long. The balls of the feet pressing into the floor and pressing wide. And let's bend and extend here. We're not straightening the legs or locking them out by any means. We're just pulsing and opening up the backs of them. This is a real hamstring stretch and glute strengthener at the same time. Good. Slide your hands back up and step narrow, step narrow. Now we're going to use our stool to step on. So something about this height, it can even be shorter actually, might help. So first I'll start by stepping, and you can use a chair to hold on to if you need to, the left foot on the stool. And I press the heel into the stool, and yours might be further away from you than mine or closer to it. Keep the ankle flexed, and you can think about pulling the pinky toe side of the foot more towards your face. The tendency here is to either point or when flexed to have the foot sickled a little bit. We don't want a sickling, so do the opposite of a sickle there, okay? So drag, dig the heel into the chair and then drag it back. So you got a tone, nice tone on the back of the leg. If you reach behind your knee, you can feel the tendons pop out. That's good. Good, and then keep the right leg bending. You bend and extend here. And as you dig, drag into the stool with your heel, you can feel a deep opening, the back of the leg. Pulsing. And you can do this while you're at work. This also helps you strengthen balance too. So we're stretching, strengthening, we're creating a lifetime of functional mobility. Good, and let's do a twist here while we're at it. You bring the foot down, grab the knee from the outside with the right hand, bring the left hand to behind your head, and then we'll twist leading with the chest. Keep your chin in line with the sternum. You might not twist that far, that's okay. And then twist back center. And now we're gonna Push the head back and the butt back. And now we'll arc to the right. Let the left ribs rise. Breathe a fullness. Good. That's the challenge for the day. Don't worry. Don't worry. It won't get any harder than that. Step back to your spot. Breathe a lightness and a fullness to the rib cage. And then step the right foot onto that stool. Dig the heel into the stool and energetically drag it back. Pull the pinky toe side of the foot more towards the face to get that fiesta flare. And you're tacoing your foot here. So the sole of my foot is forming a hollow in the bottom of it. That's good. I can also feel a hollow behind the knee. Good. If you don't feel a hollow behind the knee, if you feel a mound instead, see what you can do to make that. Play around with it. It's part experiential. Okay? And you can bend and extend here. Grab opposite elbows, and this will prevent you from letting your arms sink you down. So genie arms, pretend like your elbows are on a shelf. A lot going on at once, my friends. I hear you. I'm doing it too. Take the left hand outside the right knee. Right hand behind the head. Wrap the elbow forward. And then we'll twist. Right ribs twist. And pulse. Strengthening while we're stretching. Good. Come back center. Bring the whole foot. Dig, drag the paw. Bow, head back, hips back, and now arc, a pure lateral arc to the left. Right ribs open up. And breathing back up towards center. Step back. And come back. I'm going to teach you how to sit down or come to the floor by using two chairs. So first we'll come to a seat. Let your sits bones touch first. So reach back. Think about letting your thighs touch two thighs and then your butt. Good. And now slide one foot behind you. Bring the top of the foot to the floor. You can use your chair for support. Lower the knee down. And then bring the other one back behind it. We'll move this stool out of the way. We don't need it anymore. All right. Good. You made it to the floor. Welcome. Congratulations. And then we'll take the right leg and we'll cross it in front of the left in like a figure four. The top of the foot comes to the floor. Look, you can see the sole of my foot. It's not sickled like that. It's drawing that away. Same thing goes with that one as well. And you might feel already this is a little bit tight. I like to dance my hips left and right. Get tall on the ribs and try to make creases in the front of your groin. And then we'll walk down. I'm going to walk my knees back a little bit to give me some more space. And my hands are on the chair now. And it makes it a little bit deeper. And do some pulses here. And then bring the hands to the floor. It's deeper still. You can rock the hips left to right. Back and forth. And then we'll go deepest. Bring the elbows to the floor. Use the elbows to dig, drag your ribs forward. Use the feet connected to the floor to help you pull your hips back. Falcon pose. It's an active version of pigeon. We're not asleep at the wheel here. We're engaged. We're going to make this stretch count. We're going to make it work for a lifetime. All right, float yourself back up by your heart. You can use your chair. Lift your ribs, uncross, and then we'll do the other side. Left one goes. Find your ankle hollows. Okay, play around with the kneeling position. Hips glide side to side, and then go a little bit really push your butt back more when you do that. And you might notice that left or right is a little bit harder to do. And then come down to the floor, hands to the floor. Yeah, that feels nice. And then we'll go deeper still, ice pick, ice pick. Use your arms to pull your heart away from the floor, belly long. Keep the tops of your feet pressing, engaged. Very good. And then float the heart, walk the hands back. Use your chair, walk yourself back up, and uncross the legs. I hope you've enjoyed these moves today to help you open your hips and open your hamstrings. If you have any questions, please send me a message or give me a direct message. Thank you for practicing together. Namaste.